the Koalition.
And now we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch because there was some news that came out this past week that right now the Nintendo Switch is currently the fastest selling console ever. Now, I know that some of us have some of us have a Switch. I know, Dana, that you already mentioned earlier that you've been playing on the Switch all holiday season. So how about you tell us, what do you think of this news that Nintendo Switch is now the fastest selling console on the market?
This is making me happy. Many people have written Nintendo off for a while, and for a good reason. So it's wonderful to see that they've come back even stronger and people are interested. Yes, Mario Odyssey, I think, is one of the main reasons as to what kickstarted everything. But I think that there's going to be really great titles that's coming out in 2018 that's going to secure their spot. So I'm very happy for this news.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a new Switch owner yourself, Mr. Lugo, what are your thoughts on this news?
I think it's good. I think it's great. It's going to do more good for Nintendo moving forward through 2018. I think a lot of it is also attributed to the lineup, not just one or two specific games, because like Dana said, Mario Odyssey definitely was a big reason for that. And I would even argue Breath of the Wild too, to an extent, as well as also Splatoon 2. But also look at the rest of the games that are available on the Switch right now. Look at the diverse lineup of third-party titles, which is totally different than what we saw with the Nintendo Wii U. And the reason being why that's a great thing is because that's going to attract even more players over time to pick up a Switch. And I think a lot of it had to do between that and the positive word of mouth that kept getting passed around by consumers to other consumers is what really kind of like allowed this to happen, which is great, which is only going to attract even more third-party developers, probably even entice other developers to jump on being part of the Switch train as far as like developing games for it, and also even collabing with other companies within themselves to create other experiences for it. And I think this is only going to get better, moving into 2018.
I agree pretty much with everything that you both said. One point that I'm going to throw in before I hand it over to Max and Gary. I know last year with the Switch, I was one of the people that doubted that it was going to be a success, only because I looked at the lineup, the initial lineup at launch, and I said Zelda and a couple other games. I said, well, that's good, but I don't really know what they have moving forward. Then when we got around to E3, and they had that little E3 conference where they announced all the stuff they were working on. They showed a couple of games that were coming out later that year. We already knew about Mario, but then they had the Fire Emblem game also coming out. So after I saw that, I was like, man, that's awesome. And then, of course, towards the end of the year, when we found out that, Wolfenstein 2 is also coming, as well as Doom. I mean, at that point, then I fully believe, okay, I was wrong about the Nintendo Switch, So in terms of their 2018 lineup, I know we don't really know a lot of information so far. We know about Bayonetta coming 1 and 2, 3 is in development. A couple other games we still have question marks on, and we are going to talk about the Nintendo Direct in a minute also. But I just want to say that, I have faith that they are going to once again surprise people, because I was surprised with the E3 conference they had, all the stuff that they said they're working on. That shows you that they are actually supporting the system. And that's why, I have really no criticism of Nintendo. I do have a Switch. I haven't really played the Switch yet because there's been so many games out that I've been trying to catch up on, but I definitely am going to make sure I play it a lot more this year. But yeah, congrats to Nintendo. Whether it's shipped or sold, it's still excellent for Nintendo in general. But Max, Gary, you have any thoughts on this news that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just, echo everyone else and say it's really good to hear, especially because, like, I feel like a lot of people were doubting the Nintendo Switch when, it was first announced and everything, or before it was even, fully announced. People were kind of doubting them because of the Wii U and, the lack of success that had. So it's good to see that, Nintendo pulled through and persevered, and, now they're a force to be reckoned with, so kudos to them.
Yeah, man, I echo that as well. It's absolutely insane. Ever since the first reveal trailer of the Switch, they've kind of been on fire, though, which is really, really cool to see. Because I I remember one of the weirdest things about the marketing of the Switch from the start was that this time around they like didn't have any kids in the trailers or anything like that. It was all focused on like adults and teenagers, like who were bringing the system around, like going to bars and using it in like a public place and stuff. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons the Switch took off so well, is because it's the first time, like, honestly, I guess you could argue since the 360 and the PS3, but even then the 360 and the PS3 were still just like more advanced versions of like the PS2 and the Xbox. Whereas like the Wii and now the Switch were like the first real like innovations on console gaming. And even the Wii with the motion controls was cool, but that still wasn't like super utilized. It was still kind of gimmicky, except for in certain cases like Wii Sports and stuff, you know, whereas the Switch, this isn't a gimmick. Like the entire thing is this new innovation that you can bring. It's both a home and portable console. You can bring it with you absolutely anywhere, and you can finally set it down somewhere once you're settled in. Like that's absolutely insane. It's the ideal, aside from graphics and like, I guess, internet connectivity to a point. The Switch is like the ideal place to play absolutely any game. Like you don't have to stop playing when you have to leave. You know, if you have to take the train to work for a half hour, you can spend a half hour gathering moons in Mario, you know, or doing a few levels in Sonic Mania. Like no other console allows you to do that except for like the portable 3DS, but even then at home you're still playing it on that small ass screen. You don't have the opportunity to like plug it into the television stuff, which is absolutely insane. And then you even have like the portable or the capability with the Joy-Con to allow 2 players to play it like in public. Like I want to say 3 weeks ago now, I was out at a bar with some of my friends and he brought his Switch and we ended up playing Rocket League on the damn thing, like just out of nowhere. Like it was entirely impromptu because those Joy-Cons allow it to become 2 players no matter what. You don't have to bring like an extra controller with you or anything like that. It all comes with the system, which is just absolutely insane. And not only that, but like the giant indie push that was seen earlier this year and like throughout this year, like indies are huge on the Switch now. It's the ideal platform to play anything on, and it's just absolutely really cool, and I can't wait to get one. And I'm really not surprised that the platform or that the system is taking off, because Nintendo has also been supporting it like crazy too, and their 2018 lineup, like you guys said, is absolutely insane, and it's only going to get better hopefully. So yeah, it should come as no surprise really.
Agreed. And I have one quick question to ask you, Max, before I give the floor to Mr. Lugo to talk to us about this direct. Max, I have to ask you, so which system are you going to buy first, the Switch or the PS4?
Yeah, that's a tough question, huh? I've been debating that a lot. It may be the PS4 just because there's a lot more to catch up on. But I don't know, because also the games on the PS4 appeal to me more. Like Persona 5 is a game that appeals to me more and stuff like that. And obviously Insomniac's Spider-Man appeals to me more. But I don't know, if they reveal that Pokemon game for the Switch this year and it looks absolutely amazing, I don't know, it might be game over. That might have to go to the Switch first. It's tough. It's a very, very tough decision. But right now, probably PS4 first, if I had to do it like today.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll see. I'll be very curious to see how that plays out. So now I just want to mention real quickly, I know that there was some rumored news about a Nintendo Direct taking place on January 11th, which would be next week. So, Mr. Lugo, feel free to let us know what you've heard about this.
Not really much. Pretty much what's already been put out there is that there's been a lot of rumors floating around that really started off from a forum post, which is the offshoot of NeoGAF. I forgot the specific name of the forum at this moment, but it's the one that kind of spawned off from a lot of the moderators that came from NeoGAF. That somebody had posted up that around January 11th is when we're going to get a Nintendo Direct about upcoming Switch games for 2018. Maybe a little bit of 3DS stuff, but it's mostly going to be focused on Nintendo Switch. Now, this kind of lines up with a lot of the previous times that this has happened, like towards the beginning of the year, where Nintendo would have a Nintendo Direct to talk about stuff coming up for the rest of the year, which is usually the primer that we get before the spring, which is also before E3. Usually when there's going to be big announcements from a Nintendo Direct, it'll be like towards the springtime. That's when usually Nintendo tends to have a habit of announcing some bigger stuff, or at least talking about some stuff that we've been waiting on for quite a while. If we do end up getting a Nintendo Direct this week, again, as we're recording this on the 11th, I wouldn't be surprised if they talk about some stuff. They talk about the Switch numbers, about it being the fastest selling console around now. I would fully expect that. I would fully expect also maybe a little bit of some talk about some of the mobile stuff, because I feel like they talked a little bit about that before the holiday season. They probably have to expand upon a little bit more about some of the other stuff that they have in the works. But a lot of the bigger things that I would expect for them to talk about, for like, you know, people want them to talk more about Metroid Prime 4. People wanted them to talk about Smash Brothers finally coming to the Switch. That stuff I feel like we're not going to get at this Direct. I feel like that's something that they would either do in the spring, like towards that release time, or towards E3, because I feel like those are announcements that would make a big splash, that would turn a lot of heads during that time frame. Now, again, this is all speculation. I don't know for certain. I don't think anybody really knows for certain, save for the people that are involved with it. But if I was a betting man, like as far as what exactly we will see this coming week, I would have to say games that we have already seen that we know that are in the pipeline, that are coming soon, but maybe a couple teases, and then that's it. I don't think it's going to be a really exciting Nintendo Direct, unless they prove us wrong, because they have done so plenty of times before. But at least I'm going on the safer side and saying that I don't think we're going to get a lot out of it.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I mean, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, all I know they have coming in February is the Bayonetta collection 1 and 2.
One thing I should mention, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think I should mention this too, because I think it's also important. We also are getting closer to that time frame when we're going to have to start paying for the Nintendo Online service for the Switch. Now, this is going to be a big deal because there's been details that have been, you know, divulged about it. They've talked about it here and there, but I don't think it's still clear to a lot of people, myself included, as far as what this service is, how much it's going to cost throughout the year, what type of services it's going to provide, you know, from being a part of it, besides the online functionality for all its games. That's coming this year. I believe it's coming towards June, I want to say, sometime like within the next couple of months. I know there's a specific date out there. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but it's still coming very, very soon. And I feel like they'll probably reiterate that at some point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Wasn't even thinking about that. They're definitely going to make that a little bit more clear. But yeah, I mean, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure if the Direct is happening on the 11th, we'll find out about it either tomorrow or Tuesday. Who knows? But because they normally will announce that there is a Direct coming days before it happens, and then it happens. So we'll see what happens. But